This is one of the most traditional industry that has never been reshaped or revolutionized by the Web2 giants or e-commerce at all.
Introducing Reffo, the man behind Puffpaw, the first consumer-facing DePIN platform on Berachain, with the goal of disrupting the $800 billion tobacco industry to help 1.3 billion smokers worldwide.
Many of us would agree that you managed to build something that's quite controversial.
Vape to quit nicotine. There's nobody in that vape industry that can get this amount of attention from the general users within this short time frame. This is respiratory disease related data directly coming from 1.3 billion smokers. Right now, there's no such device collecting such data. Our mode is not to build hardware pieces here. Our mode is how can we use the Vape-to-Earn mechanism to revolutionize the very traditional chain of this industry.
What is your vision for Puffpaw?
It's just really the goal. We want to revolutionize, we want to reshape this very traditional industry to make it.
GM to everybody in this room, and a warm GM to everybody behind the screens and listening to us. My name is Alina, and I'll be your host for today, where we have a very special guest. It is the co-founder of Puffpaw, Reffo. Am I pronouncing that right? Where is the name coming from?
Yes, that's 100% right. That name is my Web3 name, of course, and it's the backwards of offer. I'm actually using that name for a long time for my social media, everything. So that's where I'm just keeping using that as my Web3 identity. So that's for a while.
How long have you been in the Web3 space for?
I don't consider myself as an OG because I get into the space right at the beginning of pandemic. Right during the pandemic, quit my job and get into the Web3 side of the world and exploring a lot of NFT. Early days, I was just like a trader and started to build my first project, which is the SocialFi project on Arweave last year. And this is like my second project so far.
So I understand the appeal of being a trader, but what compels you to pivot to the builder side?
When you trade so long, you find about your hobby, your specific interest in this industry. For me, I just realized that I more enjoyed building stuff. I want to build something from 0 to 100 instead of just trading. Of course, if you're a good trader, you will make tons of profit, but it's not just about the profit, about money. It's more about what you really want to do in the space. And I feel like there are tons of other stuff that I can do. And also when building my last project and even for this project, I met a lot of great folks in the industry. I think this will give you a lot more connection and exposure and networking chance with other people in this industry. So it's actually more appealing to me personally.
Were you always interested in building from 0 to 1 even before you joined the Web3 space?
I was building like in the construction and development for the real estate for a long time. So I was keep building, right? I was always building something during the project management or, the investment side of the project, creating new stuff. So it's always about building for myself. It's just like, if you do not know the space well, you better start from using the product, which is trading. Eventually, I know that I want to build something fun. And even from my last project, it's always about a consumer-driven application. So I'm always building something fun for the consumer side. I want to be a fun consumer by myself. I want to get more experience of the consumer's cross crypto scenario. So that's what I'm aiming for since day one.
I think many of us would agree that you managed to build something as consumer to get something that's quite controversial, quite interesting. Are you a smoker?
I am a smoker. I'm a long-time smoker, and not only for tobacco, but also for cannabis and other stuff because it's legal in the US. I started to vape a long time ago. I prefer vape over cigarette because everything about cigarette, that's something I couldn't take it for too much. So I switched to vaping. And I know there's a lot of things that can be done better with vaping. There are tons of things that can be done better with the hardware devices. The industry is pretty saturated. So there's not much can be done if you are just building a norm vape competing with the 100 other vapes that you can see in the smoke shop. It's huge. It's very competitive. It's always in my mind that what if I can combine the vaporizer with the Web3 side of the business, make it more fun, make it more entertaining for the young folks. And meanwhile, maybe help them to do it in a better way or healthier way. When we're talking about vaping, there are tons of downside of it, the chemical, artificial chemical ingredients, and even just for the nicotine, because when you're vaping, there's no way for you to monitor how much nicotine you are taking in on a single day. And a lot of that problem going with, at the end of the day, you're taking more nicotine unintentionally. So with all of that personal experiences with the vaping, that's something I know personally I can do this better, and how I can do this better with the Web3 synergy. That's something we'll keep exploring.
Why a Web3 synergy? What does the Web3 space offer to reach your goals?
Yeah, there are a lot of different aspects. So if you are looking at a consumer brand, it takes a long time for anybody to build a new brand, even for the giants, for the consumer brand giants. When they are launching a new brand, it takes so much effort and capital upfront. And it takes a long time, minimum 2 years, to, in general, build a new brand that will be well acknowledged or well recognized by the general smokers. It takes time for people to recognize your brand as a new profile, a new appearance in the industry. When we're talking about Web3, we are talking about cold launch. We're talking about how can you bootstrap a community, bootstrap the first wave of your real loyal users, using the to-earn mechanism or use the financial incentive. It's the same thing for building a new layer 1 or infra or any of the DeFi protocols. You are using airdrop, you are using financial incentive to appeal, to attract users to come to your platform and community to support you. Same with the consumer brand. When we're talking about a new vape brand, we are using the Vape-to-Earn mechanism to bootstrap this brand, to bootstrap this game, this platform, so we can get a lot of real smokers on our platform on day one, instead of just build that brand, spend tons of money doing the marketing for the 2 years, and you don't even know if the outcome is going to be satisfying. So we started this 5 months ago, and so far we had a great attention on Berachain, which is a layer 1, new layer 1 EVM compatible chain. It's not even launched yet. We are not even launched yet. So far, I can guarantee you that there's nobody in that vape industry or in general in any of the consumer industry that can get this amount of attention from the community, from the general users within this short time frame. So this is really, I think, why it makes so special to build with the to-earn, with the crypto, that kind of style into it.
What has been your experience building on Berachain so far?
We started this idea, and I was literally just looking for which ecosystem I should go with. I can go with Base, I can go with Solana, but the real reason that I go with Berachain is because this is a very code-driven, very meme culture, very DeGen, DeFi folks. Originally, they are coming from Oli Pastel. It's a lot of DeFi, DeGen traders, and people love about this very DeGen idea of the new applications, including all of the to-earn game. And also because the founder's name is Smokey, and their Genesis NFT is Bong Bear. It's a bear holding a bong and keep smoking. So there's a lot of fun side, a lot of vibe side that really resonate with what we are building here. And to be honest with you, in the early days, we didn't approach to any of the foundation folks at Berachain. We think this is a decentralized thing. It really should go bottom up instead of top down. So initially, I had my white paper 5 months ago. I approached to all of the eco-founders on Berachain. They love it. So I literally just raised a very small family and angel round with all of the Berachain OG and the founders 3-4 months ago. Eventually, we approached Berachain Foundation, and they love us, and we are, getting to their incubation program, and that's how we get a lot of official endorsement after we are revealed to the Berachain ecosystem. I think it's just because of that community support that leads to us, down the road.
You're also going to run your own validator node on Berachain, if I understand correctly.
Yes.
Can you talk more about the interplay between users, LP providers?
Yes, we are incubated by Berachain, so we are also running our own validator and node on Berachain. It's very simple. So if you provide liquidity to the Bera/Puff LP, you will earn Puff token as well as BGT token. That just brings more incentive for people to hold and buy or get into the game to earn more of the Puff token in order to join the proof of liquidity game on Berachain. And to be honest with you, that also brings more liquidity to our game, to our Puff token as well. So that's how we are aligned with the Berachain POL mechanism. And we are also working with tons of other DeFi protocols, Kodiak, Infrare, Gamify, Shogun, all of the core DeFi protocols on Berachain. We are 100% going to work with them on the Puff token basis. So whatever you can enjoy the DeFi high leverage or perps or any of the lending protocol or any of the thing on Berachain, you can also do that with Puff token as well.
I also noticed that STEPN invested into you, correct?
Yes.
Is there going to be a collaboration there of any sort?
That's a good question. So far, STEPN has a really, really successful community in Japan. So I think we're going to do something fun with Japan market. STEPN just launched their Step Go, which is a lighter version of STEPN game. So we're definitely going to do more on that side. For STEPN, I think they help us a lot on the initial move to earn from STEPN's game from 2 years ago and try to find what's the similarity and what's the difference this time that we can do with Puffpaw, because from our perspective, it's not only just about to earn, it's also because we have the physical product. You can think of us as a step in with a real pair of sneakers. So we have our sneaker, which is our physical vaporizers here. When we're selling more of the vaporizers, we're also building more of the real business model to generate more cash flow with this consumer business here. So how can we put this into the entire tokenomics to try to play more sustainable within our tokenomics, especially on Berachain? That's a huge thing that we are exploring together.
In your model, people get incentivized with puff tokens to quit smoking, essentially. The less nicotine I take in as a vape, the more incentives I receive. How do you plan to maintain the incentivizing?
Yeah, that's a good question. Initially, we are going to launch our first 10K of the NFT, Genesis NFT holders. When you buy the NFT, we're going to get you the free vape, free pods, and some initial token airdrop for you to get it to start, to bootstrap into the game. But that's just a start. That's our Genesis holders. Of course, we want to make sure that our early supporter will get a great financial incentive, financial return. That's our goal here. But in the long term, it's more about how can we make the return sustainable for the real smokers, as well as how can they monetize in the long term, right? So there are two parts of the story we're talking about. The first part is to, the Vape-to-Earn, where you're earning the crypto from the vaporizer, from the consumer activity. But the second part is more beyond on top of the Vape-to-Earn game. It's about the data. This is something that we do not talk too much to our individual users, but it's consumer. They don't need to understand too much about whole story. They just want to have fun, right? We want to keep ourselves to have fun here. The second phase is what I want to share here is that because of this device, we are collecting tons of the consumer data, the smoking data, which is the health data here. So when I'm talking about the vaporizers, the data we have is the amount of puffs for each day, the duration of each puff, the timestamp of each puff, the nicotine level, and also the flavor. That's the 5 data we can collect from hardware device. We will also use our mobile app to incentivize users to provide more of their personal background information. We will not sell our users' data, but we want to put all of the data together as a data set for the user to determine which third party they want to reveal that data to. So in the long term, they should have a data monetization access or feature for all of the individual users. We all know that when we are having more users on the platform, the Vape-to-Earn financial incentive will be lower and lower as we have more users. That's when the second phase will kick in. More user on the platform, more of the data we have from each individual users, and a better chance we can onboard those data consumers to the platform and pay for that data from our users directly. So that's when the second, the curve comes in from the data monetization. That's where overall the financial incentive for each user will stay sustainable or in the long term. And when I'm talking about who's going to buy this data, who's going to put more value into this platform are literally those tobacco companies, vape companies, as well as the health insurance agencies or health product companies. Because the data we are collecting right now, there are nobody even doing this in the Web2 world. This is respiratory disease related data directly coming from 1.3 billion smokers who are sub-health populations. Right now, there's no such device collecting such data. And also because this industry is so traditional, it's tobacco product. There's no way for you to do any of the paid promotion online. There's no e-commerce. There's no such tool to track, to do the data analysis of this group of users, which is 1.3 billion smokers. It's heavily relying on distributors and local smoke shops. When you're talking about a vaporizer or cigarettes, you always buy from the smoke shop. It's not from the brand directly at all. That's why those brands, those tobacco companies, they have no access to any of the users' data at all. This is one of the most traditional industry that has never be reshaped or revolutionized by the Web2 giants or e-commerce at all. Never. So what we're doing here is literally building a platform to pair the consumers, the smokers, with those brands, with those data consumers. And so far, we are approached by a lot of the traditional tobacco company and the vape company, vape brands. They're coming to us, hey, how did you guys get those attentions on the platform this quick? And is there a chance that we can work together because we are super interested in your traffic? How did you get them on board? We want to learn from you. That's the very natural feedback or request for us from those traditional vape business builders. And we're so open to share because our mode is not to build a hardware pieces here. Our mode is how can we use the Vape-to-Earn mechanism to code launch, to bootstrap this platform so that we can revolutionize the very traditional supply chain, industrial chain of this industry because it's a so special category of the consumer product.
So essentially with Puffpaw, I'm not only getting paid to quit smoking, but I'm also contributing to science by giving my data away. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone.
Exactly. I think there's a general confusion or misunderstanding about a vape company or tobacco companies. Like they're always the bad side of the human nature. There's this new trend, even for the tobacco companies, they are looking into the way to build vape brands by themselves. And for example, the British American Tobacco, BAT, which is a tobacco giant, they are building the new non-nicotine vape in the US. I forgot the name of the brand, but they hired Chris Brown as a celebrity to run a promotion for that new non-nicotine vape. There's a lot of anxiety from the tobacco brands that cigarettes are not popular anymore among the young folks. Young folks love vapes. Young folks love Zen in the US, right? So this is a new trend. We are not thinking that tobacco or vape brand are bad. As long as they are trying to do better, they're trying to entertain the new folks, the young generation. So even they know that the non-nicotine vape could be the new trend. They're trying to do the better thing. All they care is how can we profit? They're not care about, how much nicotine I can sell. So as long as we have this non-nicotine solution available, they're not against it. My platform is to provide traffic, attention from the end users, as well as a healthier solution that everybody will endorse it, will love it, so that I can help those traditional tobacco and the vape brand to keep monetizing, to keep doing the real business. Meanwhile, make it healthier, make it better for the consumers. So that's what we are trying to do here.
It's huge. So basically, you're helping the vaping industry pivot towards the non-nicotine vape. That's actually what you're promoting to the existing smoke.
And higher efficiency, because 80% of the profit are taken away by distributor and the smoke shops. That's why young folks are paying very high premium buying the vapes from the local smoke shop. The reason it's so expensive, it's not because the brand, it's because of the distributor. Every local distributor or local smoke shop, they have a huge negotiation power when talking about the brands. Brands just, ship to the first station in that country, and literally it's a huge warehouse. And those distributors will come to the warehouse and pick and choose. So I'm the tier 1 distributor. I know this is my zone, this is my coverage, and I come to your warehouse, you are the brand, and I tell you, okay, I want an XYZ amount of this, because it sells good in my area. I don't have any motivation to help you to promote your new device because I know the business. That's why I have a better, higher, stronger negotiation power. That's why I can charge very high to lower tiers or the smoke shop. And you have to pay for it. You have to give me a very good price, very good deal that I will have the motivation to carry this new product from you, the brand. That's why this industry is so low in efficiency.
One immediate advantage I see of Puffpaw is that I can count the number of puffs. I can be on top of how much nicotine I'm taking in because from my understanding, the biggest downside of vaping over smoking is that you don't know how much nicotine you take in. So you solve for that. The second one, when I go to one of these smaller vape shops, I actually don't know what's inside that vape.
Yes, for us, that has to be changed. That has to be done from the source, from the factory. Every single pod, every single vape, when they're produced from the factory, we put a chip into the vape as well as into each of the pod so that we can track. We know exactly what's being put into the pod and what's the number, what's the entire information set is within each of the components. That's why since it's being produced shipped to our end users, we know exactly which process it has been through. And we are verified. We know we are testified. This is our product, real, authentic product. That's more on the tech side, how blockchain can change each of the industry. We've seen that people put encrypted chip into wines or into luxury product, make sure it's verified, it's authentic. Same with this. So we know exactly when the end users are using our vape, we know exactly all of the information that I just mentioned, all the 5 data from each of the pod and the vape. And even with ingredients, we make sure that in our factory that we are only using the natural, edible, organic ingredients, food-based ingredients for our e-liquid, for our juice. So that's why we can also make sure when users receive our product, it's exactly the same that we produced from the manufacturer. Because if you are using other fake product trying to get into a game, it's not going to work. We have the chip, we have the Bluetooth module, our mobile app is going to identify the unique identification number of each of the pod and the vape. So that's how we make sure to protect users from cyber attack as well.
Is it true that your non-nicotine vape has tea in it?
It's a tea extract. Yes, tea extract is a very normal, very neutral, very common ingredients in all of the food that we can see on the market. You can see it in the toothpaste. It's everywhere.
What is your vision for Puffpaw? How do you define success and how do you define massive success?
It's just really the goal. We are trying to revolutionize the entire vape industry. Since vape is going to replace traditional cigarette in the long term and it grows so fast, if we cannot stop it, if we cannot kill it, we make it better. It's a new trend, right? So we want to revolutionize. We want to reshape this very traditional industry to make it healthier and to make it more financial efficient for every young folk to safely and securely access it. Of course, legally and under the right, compliance for each of the country. So that's our goal, to build that platform. And one thing I want to mention that even though we're building the vaporizers right now as a co-launch strategy to bootstrap this platform, we're also working on our next generation product, which is going to be a dongle, like a sensor sitting at the bottom of each of the vape that you can buy from the market. The reason I mention that is because there's always a limit for us to produce vapes. It's tobacco product. It's the logistic issues that you have to handle around the world, right? If we can produce this dongle and connect with the vape from the Type-C, from the USB-C charging port at the bottom, so that we can collect the exact same data from our vape right now. So with the dongle, it's not a tobacco product. We can ship anywhere in the world. And I can literally, using that dongle to cover 1.3 billion smokers, to help all of the folks get into this game and quit nicotine, and meanwhile provide tons of data. That's how we scale from 1 to 100 or 1 to 1,000. And right now, tobacco product is always a limitation. The good part of this business is that the dongle, it's for the vaporizer, right? The vaporizer it's a disposable vape. Every disposable vape comes with the USB-C charger port. So that's how easily we can use the dongle to connect tons of the disposable vapes even. I'm not even talking about closed pod system. I'm talking about disposable vapes, the popular vapes you can buy on the market that can be connected with our dongle. So in the long term, we're going to pivot into that segment. The dongle is literally a Vape-to-Earn monitor and also a data collector for all of the smokers in the world.
You thought it through how to please tobacco companies, users, regulators, health agencies. What?
It's a lot. It's because me and my team, we are not a pure Web3 native team to build a real Web 2.5 business here. A lot of stuff that we're doing relies on our experience and resources, connections in the vape industry, and also our understanding about the industry. So it's literally a Web 2.5 business, a co-effort between our Web 2 team and the Web 3 team. My other two co-founders, they are in the vape industry. So it's a lot of from their knowledge as well.
Can you share a little bit more about your team? Because this vision is fantastic, but also not very straightforward to achieve. Who are the people who give you the confidence that, yes, I know that together with these people, we're going to make it?
So we are 3 co-founders, and my other 2 co-founders, they're actually my college friends. We went to the same college in the United States. After college, they just start doing their own vape business, and I'm like in my real estate, and later on get into Web3. Last year, when I sunset my last project, I went back to help them to build a vaporizer business in the US for the marketing and go-to-market side of the thing. One of my co-founders, he used to work for S'more and Aspire. Those are the top vape company, publicly traded vape company in the world. And also later on, he started to work for the OEM business, supplying tons of IQOS for Philip Morris, which is a top tobacco company in the world. And that's how we really get into this business from the manufacturer to the brand in the US. And to be honest with you, we're not doing too much tobacco vape in the US because we're doing tons of cannabis vape, which has a bigger potential in the US. So that's how we have so much connection in the different category segment in this industry, just as a vape producer, as a vape guy, from that end to this end. Both co-founders, they actually give me tons of knowledge and the confidence of building this. And I know they're there for a while. I know eventually I want to build this. And I thought, we have so much resources, connections. Why not just start doing this and bring this into the Web3 world and try to create a fun game, meanwhile doing better influence or a social effort to the entire world. So that's just literally where and how we started this game. Hey guys, this is Reffo from Puffpaw. I'm not holding my vape here this far. I know you guys keep budding us for the past 2 weeks on Twitter. Thanks for bringing us tons of attention. We got our PR news 1.1 million views on Twitter thanks to you. And if you want to FUD us, just go with this bar.